Hi everybody and welcome to this pick a card reading. I'm recording on February 22nd, the 222 date. And then tomorrow, of course, being the 23rd, we have 223-2023. So we have that repeating date. If you reduce both of those, it's 7 and 7. So it could be seen as a 7-7 date or 27 or even 14 if you add that all together, which is the Temperance card for Sagittarius. And then, of course, the 222 date is going to add up to 13, the Death card, Scorpio. And 223 is actually the 48th prime number. So if you take 48 and 48 and add them together for the date tomorrow, you have 96, and that is a mirror image of 69, which is the sign of Cancer, as above, so below. And so let's take a look at the energies for today. I have picked 3 piles and assigned them each a rune at random. I've read about these runes, and I will put timestamps below for each rune and each pile in case you just want to learn more about the runes you're seeing here. They're still pretty new to me, so I enjoy learning about them. But we're going to start with pile number 1. We have Tiwaz. Pile number 2, we have Sowilo. And pile number 3, we have Mannaz. So take your time, pause the video if you like, and reflect on which pile might be holding an important message for you. And we'll see you in your selected pile. All right, pile number 1, welcome. You chose Tiwaz, which is actually one of 2 runes that represents a deity, this one being the god Tyr, T-Y-R, the god of victory and justice. So we're going to read a little bit about the myth of Tyr. He is most known for the gods attempting to neutralize the existential threats of Loki's 3 monstrous children, the half-corpse Hel, the gigantic world serpent, and the monstrous wolf Fenrir. At first the gods kept and raised Fenrir, and only Tyr is brave enough to feed the growing wolf. However, Fenrir's rapidly increasing size and the prophecy that he is destined to attack the gods leads the deities to attempt his binding for their own safety. The wolf manages to break out of the various chains placed on him under the guise of a game, so the gods ask the clever dwarves to make an unbreakable band. The gods then take Fenrir to an island overgrown with heather and tell him that, if he is too weak to break the new fetter, they will know he is no threat, and he will let them roam free. Understandably suspicious that they will leave him in bonds, Fenrir asks a god to hold a god's hand in his mouth as a guarantee of their good faith. Tyr volunteers his own right hand. When the gods see that the wolf is unable to break free from the dwarf-forged fetter, they all laugh except for Tyr. He lost his hand. Thanks to Tyr's sacrifice, the wolf is now bound for the coming ages and will be captive until the arrival of Ragnarok, which is the Norse equivalent of the apocalypse. So the meaning behind the myth is that Tyr has given up a physical part that gives him spiritual power, in this case as the god who oversees contracts and compacts between men. So Tyr's sacrifice in the myth has dual functions. He protects the community from the immediate threat by binding the wolf, and he protects it from future threat by becoming a god who ensures straight dealings between individuals. Tyr is described as the sky god who is specifically associated with justice as decided by war and judicial combat. He is the self-sacrificing sovereign who rules cosmic order, precise and careful. The rune is also identified with the tree of Mars, which separates earth and heavens. Tyr is also identified as the pole star, which is a dependable guide for mariners. In a reading, this rune can indicate a legal problem, a situation in which one must fight for one's rights, in which one must seek justice. The querent needs to pay stern attention to duty and serve a higher truth through self-sacrifice if necessary. The rune can provide moral strength and will to succeed. The rune can be used to obtain victory in any matter in which there is competition. It indicates strength of will, determination to win, and the possibility of conflict. It means victory in legal, political, or physical combat or disputation. Justice and victory won by self-sacrifice. can also be seen as a rune of the spiritual warrior, governing conflict and confrontation and stimulating the courage and energy needed to come through difficult situations. It's most useful in legal matters when combined with another rune called Raidho. Tiwaz can be extremely useful in magical work in the personal and social realms. It is helpful in focusing one's energy and directing it single-mindedly to achieve a given purpose, especially one involving self-discipline. It can be used to bolster courage and determination in difficult situations. It is a rune of victory, especially in situations involving the law. But since Tyr is a god of absolute justice, if you invoke him, be sure that you are right, for he will do justice, not necessarily see that you win. Tiwaz can also be used in workings that address situations of international tension, once more assuming that you are willing to pray for the right side, not necessarily your side, to win. Okay. The fact that Tyr's role in the binding of Fenrir could not be transferred to another god underlines its importance. Tyr was the chief actor in the binding because the wolf is the embodiment of the forces of chaos and therefore the god of law's chief enemy. So the wolf is chaos and Tyr is order. However, the relationship between wolf and war god may be even more complex. The gods brought up the wolf at home, and only Tyr had the courage to go up to it and bring it food. Thus the wolf takes his hand into its mouth in pledge that the chain will not bind it, not only because Tyr is presumably the most honorable of the gods, but because it is Tyr who has cared for it. In helping to bind Fenrir, Tyr not only breaks an oath, but betrays a trust. He and the wolf are linked by more than his hand. Tyr's role has become almost parental, and he and Fenrir, therefore, become the polarized aspects of a single archetype. Tyr's sacrifice can also be seen as a higher law in conflict with a lower one, or two kinds of power achieving equilibrium. As Odin sacrificed himself and gave his eye to gain true vision, so the uncontrolled violence of war, the wolf, is bound by cosmic justice, the god. Functionally, the mutilations of Tyr and Odin are parallel. So the metaphor also of binding the wolf can have to do with binding the wolf within you. There's a Native American story about there's two wolves that live inside everyone. And the boy asked his father, well, which wolf survives? And the father asks, the one that you feed. So it's the one that you give the most energy to. That aspect of yourself is the one that's going to keep growing and growing. And there's an exercise in the book that I'm reading from about the binding the wolf within, about how to control and master the self. So using the power of Tiwaz to strengthen self-discipline, fasting, exercise, or tackle tasks you have put off. So it has to do with confronting that force within, that self-destructive force within yourself, and learning how to control and tame that. So that being said, I'm going to proceed with the reading of the cards that I've chosen for Tiwaz or Tyr. All right, beginning with card number 1, we have the Emperor. Okay, well, that's the masculine god of war, ruled by Mars. So structure and order and discipline. This could be very much the representation of Tyr, one who brings order through will and force. Then we have the Queen of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. More of a merciful energy to kind of counterbalance the forcefulness of the Emperor. And then we have the Empress. Very interesting. Talk about being balanced. Okay, the Emperor and the Empress. Whenever they show up together, you know, it's obviously the divine masculine and divine feminine. These forces exist within us, but also externally. But I feel like if you chose pile 1, you're more represented by this Queen of Cups, this passive, more observational figure in the middle. Maybe being called to have more compassion for yourself and moving maybe from this more domineering aspect into a more passive, receptive, because we have more feminine energy here than masculine. So the Queen of Cups is obviously at the center of things. You know, she's responsible for balancing these forces within or without herself. Again, with the theme of Tyr and him being the sky god, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra especially come through, as well as Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, having compassion for yourself and others in a difficult or unbalanced situation. As you're going through this process, you could be the mediator between two people. And let's see what our astrology cards have for us. First, we have air, open-mindedness, objectivity, and learning. There's the Tyr, god of the air. And then we have House 5, passion, play, children, confidence, and creativity. The House of Leo. And then we have Chiron, hurt and heal. Chiron being the wounded healer, the centaur. I did mention Sagittarius as it relates to the symbol of the arrow, as depicted in the rune. So again, with the air element showing up and the woundedness in the house of children, there could be some reconciliation within yourself, trying to resolve any wounds from childhood that have continued to fester or grow within you out of control. And you taking up the power of Tyr and the Emperor in order to bind that wound within yourself to keep it from growing any further. Like putting a bandage on it. I mean, the Queen of Cups is a healer, a spiritual, emotional healer. And also with House 5 being that of Leo. Also often in the Strength card, you see the woman taming the lion, taming the beast within. So I feel like this is more of an inside job than an outside job. But again, it could be you as a mediator between conflicting parties, either within your family or within your workplace. But the air being communication. Things, someone needs to clear the air. And the birds singing there, communicating. Maybe talking about, with a therapist about these issues. I mean, the Emperor's there. He's holding his finger to his ear, and the crow is calling at him. There's clear signs and signals and messages coming from your guides, addressing what needs to be healed. Because that's where you get this fertility, this abundance. It comes through healing in the Empress. That's how things are able to grow and flourish. House 5 could also be talking about maybe where Chiron falls in your chart. Could be in the 5th house. Or it could be speaking of Leo, the time of Leo, when this healing could come around, or these conversations, or actually the rewards, the benefits from the Empress, things coming to harvest as a result of your work that you do now. Okay, we are going to move on to one of your oracle cards. We have Epiphany, Seek Clarity. That's very much an air sign, again with all the birds flying around her, the birds around the Emperor. That's clarity. He's getting messages from Spirit, from higher self. And something's going to be explained to you that maybe will make sense about any recent argument, entanglement, pain, or suffering. Something that's going to be cleared. The air is going to be cleared. I think there's been a misunderstanding of sorts. Okay, but the Epiphany card is also associated with the tower, in a positive light. It's lightning striking the tower. It's like an aha moment where a light bulb comes on. Everything is suddenly made clear. And this wound no longer has any power. Could be for some of you a mother wound, as it's under the Empress card. Your mom could explain something to you about why things happened the way they did. Or if she's already passed, or maybe a grandmother, some kind of spiritual mother figure will be communicating this clarity to you. And I think that's going to relieve a lot of pressure from one side of the scale. That's either been having you too much in a masculine energy or too much in a feminine energy, but it's going to help you regain control and balance of the self, finding a new center, being grounded. Spend time outside if you can, discharging any, negative electrical particles back into the earth through your bare feet. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at your Queen of the Moon Oracle. Okay, surrender number 26. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over control. Again, I feel like the need to control the situation with the Emperor. Maybe having to relax the reins on that one or hand them over to higher power, higher self. And then we have the archetype card of the bridge. All right, number 38. Let's see what the bridge has for us. I just had a thought about the surrender card. In the story of Tyr and the Wolf, he sacrificed his hand in order to kind of maintain order or justice or equilibrium and surrender. There might be something that you're being asked to give up as well in order to restore balance within yourself or your relationships. And the bridge, it makes me think of, burning bridges, but this is the opposite. It looks like building bridges, making connections, reconnecting with somebody maybe from the past who you've lost touch with or be over some misunderstanding. So the title of this card is The Connection, the Link, the Gate. Bridges are built to connect two worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, and personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to the otherness. Healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder, and learning. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our life, relationships, ideologies, histories. Remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. Maybe that's why the Queen of Cups came up, the compassion, that non-judgmental, unconditional love for self, or maybe a previous perpetrator of someone who inflicted damage on you. So the epiphany that comes through, the message could be, again, that communication that comes through, somebody reaching out to you in order to apologize, reconnect, explain. But there's a healing of a relationship happening here. It doesn't have to be parental or, internal. It could also be a former partner. It could be a relationship from the past. And someone's reaching out and wanting to give an explanation. And let's see. Okay. Let's see what our angel cards have for us. We have trust. Okay, I feel like trust is being rebuilt here between you and another person. Like a bridge. Birth. Okay, could be the start of something new. This epiphany card often does look like a phoenix rising from the ashes there. Could be a rebirth. Transformation. Well, I mentioned the numerology in the intro of this video as 22223. 2023 adds up to 13, which is the death card, endings and transformation, and leading to a new birth or a new life. And expectancy. Okay. So I did mention the connection to a mother or mother wound, or maybe having to do with children with house 5 there. If you're an adult with adult children, there could be, again, a healing of that relationship. It could be changing into something more beautiful as you kind of give up any kind of stubbornness or resentment or bitterness about what happened in the past. But it's changing the nature of the relationship and transforming it with the temperance energy of 2023 being number 14, the temperance card. That's alchemy. It's transmutation. It's transforming this sad, painful energy of the past into something way more beautiful in the future. So I'm going to grab a Journey of Love card for us. Queen of Cups is there. There's a lot of healing going on. Okay, the Christ flame flipped out. Number 31, the 11th prime number. So 11s are doorways, gateways, new beginnings, as the bridge is described as a gateway as well. Within you burns the flame of the Christ. Beyond religion, this flame belongs to all hearts willing to receive the divine, opening to it as a lover would open the heart to receive the beloved. Though the awakening of the Christ within brings a greater closeness to the divine and therefore greater love and depth of compassion, it too can bring sadness, righteous anger, and a passionate need to contribute positive healing action and change in the world. You may be an introspective soul who does this through mastering their inner world with meditation and yoga, raising your own vibration with absolute intent that this bring healing to the world around you. You may be an extroverted soul that thrives in sharing messages and living a life of dynamic action in support of the causes that are worthy and moving to your brave heart, capable of feeling divine outrage and responding with inspired action. It's that warrior justice feeling from Tyr, isn't it? You may be a combination of these soul types and choosing wisely what you consume, which companies you support, what television you do or do not watch, and what you read, voting for the life you want to have around you in the world through your actions, internal and external. This is the Christ flame igniting within you, setting the world aflame with the fire of divine love. This oracle brings guidance that you are connecting with the universal Christ consciousness, and your heart is meant to awaken as a sacred heart, bearing the Christ flame of divine love this lifetime. You are part of the wave of awakening happening on earth right now. You are exactly where you are meant to be and doing exactly what you are meant to be doing. Keep going. All right. Wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoyed this message, and if so, let me know in the comments below, or feel free to pick another pile at this time. Thank you. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 2. You chose Sowilo, which means sun. So you could have strong placements in your 5th house, which is Leo. The ruling body of Leo is the sun, or that could be your sun sign. But let's see. The rune means the sun and its light, the solar wheel, the wheels of solar wagon, and the sun disk itself. This force is the lightning bolt that strikes heaven and earth and guides the Victi through the paths of the Yggdrasil, which is the world tree. And that's also equitable to the tree of life in Kabbalah. It can also be seen as the whirling wheels of energy that are the chakras linked by the tree. Sowilo is the will to victory. It is the illuminating beacon that guides the seeker across the sea of consciousness, a rune of the serpent mysteries of the north and a link between light and darkness. It is the light that vanquishes evil. The sun is a guiding beacon indicating good weather and a safe journey. It is the life force, consciousness, and wholeness, or the power to calm a stormy sea. The sun in Norse mythology is feminine. The welcoming heat and the light of the sun were seen as nurturing and therefore feminine. Sowilo is definitely a rune of the higher self, which directs the process of individuation. It provides spiritual guidance. She also connects Sowilo with the lightning stroke of Thor, with the myth of Balder, and with Odin's remaining eye. So Odin hung himself from the tree of Yggdrasil in order to understand the runes, and he also plucked out his own eye. It's debatable which one, but in this book that I'm referencing, it would be the left eye because it represents the moon eye that he sacrificed at Mimir's well in order to gain better sight, which makes sense, the moon being the feminine principle of receptive psychic power. So he was able to see more by sacrificing an eye. The rune is a source of invincibility and triumph, the rune of the will, here defined as the force that leads the Victi through the death and darkness. All right. Sowilo is primarily active and transformative, giving victory over the self. As with other forces, will is neutral, its spiritual value depending on the ethical principles that define its goals. Sowilo is a rune of illumination and movement, whether it is interpreted as the sun rolling across the sky road or guiding the ship across the sea. The shape of the rune suggests lightning, which is commonly held to strike from clouds to earth, as it is the lightning flash that flares down the tree of life in Kabbalah. And I'll show you a visual representation here. So, in starting from the heavens, it's said to come down in a zigzag pattern like lightning, right? And that's also where you get the 777 being a portal of manifestation. And so this is Malkuth, which is the earth. So everything has to pass through the ninth Sephiroth of Yesod, which is the moon. But anyway, so that's where you get the lightning strike down the tree and how things manifest from the ether, from the heaven down to earth. All right, actually in nature, electrical forces attract lightning up from the earth to a cloud, like Kundalini rising up the spine. So that's also another interpretation of the path working, going from this base chakras up to raising the energy through the Sephiroth up until they reach the top here and connect to God. So if the rune is interpreted in natural terms, the movement of Sowilo is the result of a mutual attraction between the forces of earth and heaven, of the human spirit and the divine. Okay, so in a reading, Sowilo indicates illumination, clarification, the appearance of a guiding principle, change, or development after a period of stagnation. It is a beacon of hope for those who strive. The sun rune means strength, energy, life force, success or luck, honor, and achievement. It is also the light of truth and enlightened consciousness. It may indicate health or a need for rest to restore it. It can be interpreted as a journey rune, especially a journey over water. Its illumination may arrive through the help of a teacher. Magically, Sowilo provides guidance in journeying and can be inscribed on luggage for protection. Invoking it helps one find the right path, both physically and spiritually. It throws light upon a situation. It can be used to break up inertia. It counters the immobilizing forces, strengthens the will, and helps one to gain access to inner guidance, and thus is a good rune for fighting depression or a slump. As a rune of the will to victory, it can be used to kindle and maintain the energy needed to carry creative projects through the completion. All right, Sowilo activates and vitalizes, strengthening leadership and charisma. It can also be used to great effect in chakra medicine or meditations. All right. So let's take a look at what the cards say for pile number 2. Starting with the tarot cards. First of all, we have the the King of Wands, excuse me. So that does go very well with the solar energy, the fire, solar, masculine energy of Leo, especially, also Sagittarius and Aries. We do have the spring or vernal equinox happening March 20th in the northern hemisphere, which marks the beginning of Aries, another fire sign. So it could be speaking of that time frame where things really start to kick off and you start to move forward if things have been stagnant for you. With the will, 5 of Swords, okay, some kind of conflict or struggle, battling, maybe within words. Maybe that's what's held you back, is not having a clear dialogue with the self, or maybe self-destructive dialogue that's been holding you back. And now we have the Page of Wands. Okay, so we have fire and air here, a lot of masculine energy of will. The Page of Wands being a new beginning. So I think this is the King of Wands, you taking your power over any kind of self-destructive thoughts or communications. It's kind of like clearing out all this chaos from your life, getting things ordered and organized, and beginning again with this Page of Wands that really does feel like the birth of spring to me around March 20th. Okay, that'll be another new moon that we'll be close to as well. So let's go ahead and see what your astrology cards have for us We have the house 11, friends, like-minded groups, and humanitarian beliefs. Okay. More air energy of Aquarius. And then we have house 9, spiritual growth. All right, yeah. So these conflicts, obviously, these challenges, battles that you've maybe come up against, resistance from other people or yourself, your inner dialogue, it's all part of the spiritual growth process. And then we have South Node, destined to release. Okay, perfect. So we're coming out of this struggle. Like I felt like we're starting something new. You're destined to leave this past behind you, this chaos and disorder. Once the lesson has been learned, you're ready to move on. The growth has occurred. There's nothing more to learn in this situation, so it's time to move on. And it might be introducing you to new groups of people in the process. Perhaps these group of friends, maybe the ones that were detractors of yours, who maybe have been the naysayers, who may have scoffed at your dreams or your visions for yourself, and they've been the obstacle, something that you've been combating, the words of people around you, saying it's not possible, or not believing in you. And maybe you let that get to you at a soul level with the Five of Swords, and which created that inner conflict and stagnation within the self. But this is telling you it's time to release that. It's time to move forward with the Page of Wands and a new beginning. And you have the willpower as the King of Wands in order to make that happen, to see that through. All right. We have animal bond, stand up for all animals. Here I'm drawn to, again, the birds, things taking flight, the air element with the 11th house of Aquarius. Again, forming new social bonds, new partnerships, relationships through communication. People, and the swords are communication. They are our words. Your words are carried far on the air, and I think that's going to attract a new group of people and a new direction for you. So communication's becoming increasingly important for you as we move into the springtime season. And it could also have to do with your instincts here, following your inner voice. I think you'll begin to trust that inner voice a little more, and it'll strengthen belief in yourself, that you're able to carry your dreams into existence. There we have the Hunter Moon Abundance. That's a full moon, number 38. Okay. So in the Northern Hemisphere, the Hunter Moon takes place around the fall equinox, which is happening in the Southern Hemisphere. So here we have the spring and the fall, this changing of the seasons, the turning of the tides. Either way, it's energy that's being turned over. It's being changing a direction from hot to cold or cold to hot. So let's see what the Hunter Moon has about abundance. Take advantage of this time of abundance. It is all around you. Possibility and opportunity are everywhere. You are open and responsive to the abundance around you. There is enough for everyone. I am abundant and I am surrounded by opportunity. The Hunter Moon is a traditional moon of plenty. It was when the game was at its most plentiful, so the people would not go hungry. The moon was large and bright in the sky, and in some cases deep orange, and there was a great deal of light to go hunting well into the evening. Our ancient ancestors couldn't just go off to the supermarket to buy what they needed to eat. Meat didn't come on trays wrapped in plastic. Eggs were gathered. Warm clothing was made from skins of the same animals that were hunted for meat. Nothing was wasted. This abundance was part of a cycle just like any other. It wasn't present all the time, so this time of the year was to be taken advantage of while the going was good. The barrenness of winter would soon return. Hunters had to be prepared. They had to have their weapons ready and their tracking skills honed. As modern people, we are less used to these natural cycles of plenty and barrenness because most of us have stepped away from the growing food and natural environment. However, these cycles are still there, even if we are not a part of them consciously. This moon normally rises in October in the Northern Hemisphere, and so was before the winter snows. Okay, so the companion stone or metal is citrine, which is a nice yellow-orange bright stone, which actually resonates with the sun. If you watched my alchemy video, the Citrinitas stage, the third stage of alchemy, about strengthening the ego, the identity, having the courage to solidify this new persona or energy that you are putting forth into the world. And like I said, your words carry far, spreading this energy to new groups and attracting new groups of people that are going to also advance your spiritual growth. Because I think this is just, the Five of Swords to me speaks of insecurity. It's maybe a weak ego or a weak sense of will in the past. But this is telling you that you have abundance all around you. You have the resources, you have the energy coming up in this change of season. And that's going to allow you to leave behind any self-doubt or feeling of inadequacy or lack. And then we have your archetype card, the healer, number 25, the snake. Interesting. Okay, let's see what that's about. The title of this card is The Lightworker, the Gifted, the Old Soul. Though some claim the work of the healer as their gift and name it as their dharma, the force of this archetype is within everyone. It is our natural inclination to remember, to return to, and to reclaim that central and eternal life force from which we so easily drift away. In Sanskrit, the word avidya means forgetting, and it is said that this is the source of all suffering and disease. The healer's mission then becomes to move through the comfort of forgetting, through the veil of ignorance and denial, to reveal the radiance that already exists. The healer approaches this in multiple ways, from multiple angles, knowing the cycle of healing is not linear. It is a multi-layered and circuitous process, always leading back to its own origin, much like the Ouroboros. Okay, the wounded healer is not someone who was wounded and is now healed. It is someone who continues to courageously break open the self and ego as a means for deep integration. The image of the serpent is eternally tied to healing and medicine, both Western with the caduceus and Eastern, the kundalini. Study the serpent and its power. Okay, so snakes to me also embody the element of change. As they grow, they shed their skin, and they, in order to expand. And this is about spiritual growth here with House 9. You could have strong Jupiter placements. I know Venus will be conjunct Jupiter March 3rd, so that can be a significant transit for you. Find out which house that's occurring in. But an expansion of beauty and love and relationships. It could be that abundance that you're feeling around that time. It's also going to be a full moon around the 3rd and 4th of March. So I'll have a separate video for that as well. But you could have this kind of epiphany, this lightning, enlightening moment. I said lightning like we were talking about in the Tree of Life, traveling down from Source, from Kether down to Malkuth. So there could be this definitely an elevation coming around the full moon. And the fact that we pulled a full moon card for your Queen of the Moon Oracle, it just could also be an abundance of knowledge, an abundance not only of physical wealth, but this definite epiphany that's coming toward you. Some of you could have come from pile 1 as well, as that might have been present, but the theme of healing also applies here. So maybe finding out what it is that you need to heal within yourself here in the 5 of Swords that's going to allow you to move forward into this abundant lifestyle and connecting with other people. Maybe some of you have struggled with social relationships and you're not so much extroverted. You've spent a lot of time going within or being secluded, but this is you coming out of that. I feel like as this new page, it's a youthful, energetic person. It's often childlike, exploratory, innocent, it kind of facing the world with a new just a new energy all around, especially after shedding maybe an old skin or coming out of your cave. There's been a period of reclusiveness that of course needs to occur for people to reconcile those parts of themselves within. But once the healing work is done, it's time to reemerge and to rejoin others in this process. And not only is it going to help your spiritual growth, but it'll help theirs as well. Okay, so these are the 3 angel cards I pulled out. We have grace. So moving through this difficult period with grace and beauty, delicacy. It's takes the bigger person to walk away, right? So if people try to bring you down or pull you down, you're stepping away from them with grace. It's something that you're meant to release, these lower energies. You're not meant to operate down there with them anymore. Clarity, I did mention an epiphany possibly coming to some of you, coming down from a source above, especially with the bird imagery here being repeated in House 11, that Aquarian energy, Gemini and Libra as well. Also birds in the 5 of Swords. I didn't realize that, but again, swords are words. And then expectancy. So I would say expect definite growth and expansion. This is almost like expecting, I think of pregnancy. Oh, you're expecting something to be reborn, to be gifted to you. She's opening a gift there. And with the abundance card, yes, this is what you can expect coming forward. as you have the courage to step away from that stagnancy or self-doubt. And then I grabbed two more. We have expansiveness, more air elements there, expanding of the mind as well. As also, I see like expanding connections. Some of you could be traveling, again, to meet these people in person, or in your travels, you come across people that are part of your spiritual growth and journey. And then we have a blank card. I like these. These are just open to interpretation. That means the future is yours to write. You have the willpower in the King of Wands in order to direct which way your energy goes. Where do you want to focus your energy, your growth? What do you want to see expand? You have the power to, again, use your swords, use your words to cut loose any old patterns or beliefs about yourself, or relationships that may have been holding you back. All right, pile 2, I hope you enjoyed this reading. You're free to pick another pile this time if you want. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile 3, welcome. You chose Mannaz, which means man or mankind, what it means to be human. So we're going to take a further look at that. So the rune Mannaz is the human archetype. It is man and a manifestation of the divine, the expression of fulfillment of human potential, intelligence, reason, memory, tradition. It is the rune of Mani, the moon, the synthesis of intuition and rationality, transformation and essence. Mannaz as the rune of the rational mind, in which the powers of the right and left sides of the brain, or thought and memory, interact. The identification of the M rune with the moon suggests all sorts of additional associations. The man and the moon, the relationship between moon and fertility, moon cycles in women and man, spiritual inheritance, and access to the collective unconscious. All of these are very similar to the concepts associated with the sphere of Yesod in Kabbalah, which governs physical fertility and access to the astral realm of images. So if you are coming from pile 2 or did an exploration there, that was actually the rune of the sun, but it was explaining the lightning bolt too, of manifestation from heaven, from Kether down to Malkuth. The 9th Sephiroth is that of Yesod, the moon. So everything has to pass through this, the moon sphere, in order to be manifest in the physical realm down here of Malkuth. So anyway, let's see. Moving on, we have the rune might indicate either the positive or negative aspects of the human condition. It seems to raise questions of identity and function, what it means to be human, and how one fulfills one's potential, as well as how one relates to human society and what one's purpose and function in life should be. In a reading on a spiritual question, it might indicate a need to tap into the powers of the collective unconscious, to draw on race memory for creative solutions and a way of revisioning the world. Mannaz is useful in mental work for strengthening intelligence and memory and for psychic awakening. In magic, it is a rune of the integrated and disciplined mind. Its danger is pride if one thinks that one has been set apart from the rest of humanity. It's a rune of interdependence, responsibility, cooperation, and social relationship. It indicates people in service occupations are in need to get outside help. It can also contribute to clear and creative thought and the power of creative visualization. It represents the self, humanity, human frailty, and untrustworthiness and distrust. It's a rune of the self, identity, and purpose. So those of you who chose pile 3 may be searching for your purchase, or, learning more about, knowing yourself. So you might be on that inner quest to find your purpose or place in your spiritual purpose. Okay, so let's take a look at what the cards have for you. Starting with your tarot cards, we have number 1, the star. Okay. Aquarius, speaking of divine purpose, right? Your soul's purpose, being on your life path, your mission. All right. And we think of like a guiding star pointing us in the right direction, lighting the way of our path. The 2 of Wands, now it's great because the 2 of Wands are 2 wands sticking up in the earth, right? They act as a gateway, a number 11, giving you 2 options. Maybe you might be torn between which path to take. And then we have the 8 of Wands, all right. So more fire energy. We have air and fire in this reading as well. But this is choosing with confidence a direction and taking aim on your sight on that goal and putting all your force and will and effort behind it in order to see it manifest. But this is also the position of Mercury in Sagittarius, so that's fast moving communication and energy. I think if there is a decision to be made here, that it'll be made swiftly and with confidence, either through signs or symbols that you're receiving from your guides, but there will be clarity that's going to be achieved here if you're seeking a direction through communication. Or you could be getting multiple offers from individuals of where to go or what to do next. In our astrology cards, we have Earth, persistence, patience, and practicality. Yeah, I think this is this whole process is requiring patience. Maybe you've been waiting to hear back from somebody for a while, or you've just been waiting for the sign when to go. But that patience will be rewarded because you don't want to haphazardly choose just for the sake of choosing and end up going the wrong direction. I mean, there's really no wrong choice, but it's like, do you want another lesson or do you want your ideal outcome? So that's going to require some kind of patience for the right timing to come along. And we have Neptune, dream and transcend. Okay, well, Neptune, we did mention this Mannaz being linked to the moon, and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Pisces rules the moon card in tarot. So it has to do with images and imagining and dreaming your ideal reality and bringing it into existence, from the ether to the physical. So I think as long, this is maybe, I mentioned focus here of the Archer. You could have strong Sagittarius or ninth house placements, but this is going to help you get clarity on where to focus your energy through your dreams, through your images, through intuition and knowing. So if there's been some cloudiness or confusion or uncertainty, that's all about to be cleared up. But it's also encouraging you to maybe focus on your dreams, signs you're receiving, write them down, notice them, acknowledge them. Like if I see a number, it's funny, I don't know where this came from, but if I'm driving behind a car and I see a license plate that says 222, and I'm actually recording this, but I always say 222, I see you. I speak it out loud. I let, spirit know, hey, I'm seeing this sign. So where's it leading me? Show me. I talk to spirit and try to figure out what the significance of that was. All right, and then we have fixed, stability, persistent, loyalty, and dependability. Okay, we have more Aquarius here. So the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. We have Aquarius show up in the star. I'm actually still filming this, and the sun is in Aquarius in sidereal astrology. It just entered there February 13th. So this could be the time in which you're receiving these clear messages. But with the earth here too, stability, persistence, loyalty, dependability, persistence, patience, practicality. So there's some grounding that's being achieved. There is, again, maybe where there was uncertainty or felt like you were floating out into space or things were very airy-fairy and not very clear. And this is definitely putting a pin in that and saying, this is where you're going. I almost got this image of like throwing a dart at a map. Like, I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but it's like that kind of decisiveness. Okay, that's where we're going next. Maybe that's what your spirit guides are doing for you in translating that into signs and symbols that you're picking up on, as an example. So let's see what your oracle card is here. We have legends. Learn from those who inspire you. Okay. So there could be mentors that you're following here, maybe following in their footsteps, or they've given you the courage and bravery to become your own legend and step into your life's purpose, as we discussed with the star or Mannaz. Again, studying mythology, this is an example. I learned about these 3 runes in detail, and that was speaking of mythology and legends that bring that to life. So you could find a lot of power and symbolism in researching those legends, maybe, or reading about, fictitious characters that can inspire you into choosing this direction or showing you your purpose. And maybe you resonate a lot with a character from a novel, and you end up embodying those very characteristics. And the Queen of the Moon oracle we have here is Faith, the Worm Moon, another full moon card, number 31. It's the 11th prime. It's interesting. Pile number 1 there. I pulled a Journey of Love for card for them, and they got 31 as well. So I'm seeing repeating themes. And then pile number 2, their Queen of the Moon card was also a full moon. But the worm moon, that's coming up in the spring in the northern hemisphere. So full moons often bring clarity. They reveal things. Mannaz was talking about, again, the moon cycles. So and the new moon is often hard to see. It's dark. There's not a lot of illumination. But this could be what is coming through for you around the full moon. I believe this is in March. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. The worm moon. Okay, I was right. Okay, there is a full moon happening March 7th, 2023, and that will be the worm moon. So a lot of you could be getting your answers relatively quickly or soon. Maybe that's why the Eight of Wands came up, that rapid delivery of messages and signs coming in. Oh, I mentioned the 31 is the 11th prime, right? 11th prime number, and the 2 wands make that gate, that 11. Could be seeing 1111 a lot. Pay attention to that. Okay, awesome. So this is coming up real quick in the northern hemisphere. Well, I guess it's for everyone, but the southern hemisphere, you're moving into fall. Okay, let's read about faith. Fertility and abundance now return. Things will get better. Growth has started. Hold on to your dreams in adversity. I know all will be well. It is the darkest times that we find it hard to see the light. It is hard to see when things seem hopeless, how we can ever feel hope again. When things seem to fail, it is really difficult to draw up our resilience and stand up again. We learn by observing the seasons that the light does return. The barrenness of winter turns infinitely and surely into spring. The ice melts, the days grow longer, and the nights grow shorter. Warmth and fertility slowly return to the land. It is hard to have faith in ourselves and the universe. I actually think faith is the real F word. Faith requires us to let go of our anxieties and have trust, perhaps in something we can't actually see yet. Having a more complete faith in yourself and a higher power to lead you to your greatest good is a solid intention. While having a rigid, blind faith does not serve us, it is important to hold on to our dreams and intentions and to focus on the outcome. Yeah, dreams and intentions in Neptune, dream and transcend, focus in the Eight of Wands. To do this without taking note of what is happening around us can be folly. Our ancestors would observe nature carefully, looking for the signs of new life and fertility, altering their hunting or planting to best take advantage. Yet they knew that the ice would melt and the soil, damp and ready, teeming with worms, would receive their seeds. The companion stone or metal is lapis lazuli, which is a deep blue stone. It was often revered in ancient Egypt amongst the royals, but has to do with the throat chakra, heightening communication. It often stands for truth and justice. It feels like karmic justice being done. If you feel like you're at a loss or things are never going to turn around for you, this is a great indication that this heightened communication between you and higher self is going to reassure you and give you the faith in knowing that justice will be done, that balance will be restored, and that clarity will be achieved. Yeah, the throat chakra. So communication and speaking those signs to you. The universe will be speaking to you. Okay, and finally we have our archetype card, the cave. All right, so this is number 32. I pulled this recently, I think in that last pick a card I did. So if you got that last time, this might be confirmation that this is your pile. But let's read about the cave. So with the imagery of the full moon and faith being there, and the light of the moon representing that illumination, the cave is obviously a very dark place. I feel like a lot of you are moving out of the darkness into the light. You're coming out of your cave, out of maybe seclusion or an internal reflective phase. The dark, the portal, the interior, those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It is a place of potent power, acting both as portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls and whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard. Yet because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city, while the cavernous and dimly lit chamber calls out to us in the night. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend the fire. So when it talks about the cave being in the center of the heart, returning to the center of the heart, tend the fire, we have the heart showing up in the earth card. So what's your passion, really? And the Eight of Wands is more fire. The Two of Wands is fire. So this is telling you you'll be pulled or directed in the direction of your passion. Your desire is going to be relit. Maybe some of you are coming out of a phase of depression or darkness, or again, losing your faith. And this is telling you to keep the faith, to keep things burning, keep things strong. It doesn't really ever go out. You know, the fire may burn dim or low. It might be an ember. Again, Sagittarius is coming to mind because of the 3 fire signs. We have Aries, which is cardinal. It starts the fire. Leo is the full blazing embodiment of the fire. But Sagittarius is like that low burning coal, you know, but it keeps the fire lit. It gives off a lot of heat, but it keeps things burning. You can often reignite a fire with just one coal. I know if you ever go camping and you put out your campfire from the night before, you can often still find a hot coal still under there that you can use to start something new. And that's what I feel again with this worm moon, with this March 7th coming up. And then we have the, of course, spring equinox on the 20th. All right, let's get some angel cards for you to wrap this up. Wisdom. Okay. Looks like the Hermit card standing on top of the mountain holding the lantern. Virgo with the earth sign here could be important to you. The cave, that kind of withdrawal. Virgo speaks of purity. Maybe, again, I feel like a lot of you are coming out of this phase of being withdrawn, seeking inner wisdom. And, you know, coming out of the cave with that lantern, showing the way. With the 2 of Wands being the portal that's showing you which direction you should follow. Flexibility. Okay, remain flexible to change. I feel like it's coming for you rapidly with the 8 of Wands there. Love. That's always a good thing to have, right? To get love, we must give love. And also love to ourselves. Don't forget that part. And we have obedience. Okay. To me, also often speaks of like timing with the stoplight there. You know, there's times to stop, times to go. I mean, the stoplight's there to keep us safe so we don't get in an accident. But some things, it's the rule of timing. You know, I mentioned there was a timing situation here. So being patient with the earth sign and being obedient to the rhythms and cycles. Again, with faith, this woman is pregnant. You know, you can't give birth until the baby's ready, right? Have to obey the cycle, responsibility. And she's holding the world in her hand. That's interesting. It feels like you do have a large responsibility to humanity, your soul's purpose here with the star. You could be becoming somebody else's legend, right? In your advancement of self, part of your soul's journey and purpose. And joy. Okay, you bring a lot of joy to the world too. And I feel like you're going to be experiencing a lot of joy the more true, and once you get on your path, you'll find a lot of satisfaction in it. Okay, that's all I have for you, Pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you'd like to select another pile at this time, you can. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.